Hey guys, welcome to the Power of the Journey podcast, a podcast where we share meaningful stories and hope to inspire. So, this episode is going to be sort of a deviation from the expected, and it's going to be a solo episode. And so, I'm just going to be sharing some story or some events that recently happened. And so, we have a book club at the office where we sort of review books and talk about different chapters from the book. And so we looked at a particular chapter in this book called The Power of the Constraints. And it's a very interesting book. It talks about how constraints have sort of formed and shaped different people's lives. And one of the chapters that we reviewed referenced an individual called Alex Lazarus. He's a behavioral scientist. And his story was very interesting, really. It talked about the adversity he faced in the then Eastern Europe, which after some time he then moved to England. And so he thought that his experiences and the difficulties that he faced at the time led to changes, like led to a sort of his advancements when he got to England. And really that got me thinking, is it possible that people get better because of the difficult situations that they've gone through in life? What is the effect of the challenges that people have been through, and how does it shape them as an individual? And so I started to do some research, and I don't know, I'd really love to hear your thoughts. So apparently there is a theme called the paradox of adversity. And so it's interesting. It really talks about, I'm just going to quickly read from a book here. The adversity paradox is a phenomenon that is building outstanding success upon the lessons learned in overcoming serious difficulties. So basically, it's the fact that adversity really sort of changes and has an influence on how you sort of, things happen to you, really. And it's really interesting because it looks like everybody needs to go through a difficult situation or sort of have a difficult experience to sort of even be better in a space or in life. And so it was very interesting when I started digging deep into my research, and I started seeing even different themes around adversity. And so there is, so I was on LinkedIn recently and I saw a post. It was someone, and they were giving a speech, and about the end of the post, he then said, and I quote, "Easy streets lead to a dead end, but hard roads lead to the best destination." And it basically reinforces the conversation about the adversity paradox, right? Like anything that is easy is sometimes called to question. It must be difficult for us to learn things from, or it must be difficult for us to get to like a very interesting end. And yeah, it's kind of funny, right? And so I'm just going to bring in another perspective, really. And I think that wasn't really my intention with this podcast. Is why is it then that parents, for example, having gone through difficult situations and say, be successful, where they are, don't expose their children to the same difficulties that they went to. And so you see parents, for example, providing the best education to their kids, sending them to the best schools, like protecting them from as much harm as possible. And you then begin to wonder if they are where they are because of the adversities that they've gone through, why are they not exposing their kids to the same adversity? And so it really was just, it got me in like a different sort of space. And I was just, and I kept thinking. And of course, in an article I also came across, it talked about the fact that there are also exceptions to this, and to the point that where there are then individuals that pass through these difficulties, they even do better than people or their peers, for example, that had everything even made available for them. So it's really interesting, and I wanted to sort of get your perspective or what your thoughts are around adversity. Do you think it is a necessary end, or do you think you really don't have to go through it, especially because you talk about providing better life for your kids, for example? So I mean, hit me up. I'd like to get your sort of responses and your comments below. If you're new to this channel, please click the like button. Also share with your friends. Power of the journey. Have a good time. Bye.